Deuce and Mo, Deuce and Mo, Deuce and Mo. They tell you what they know. Deuce and Mo, Deuce and Mo, Deuce and Mo. The podcast that you know. Deuce and Mo.
Deuce and Mo, Deuce and Mo, Deuce and Mo. They tell you what they know.
Do it for Deuce and Mo, Deuce and Mo. Hey, do it for Deuce and Mo. When it comes to the Kings, that's my favorite show. Do it for Deuce and Mo, Deuce and Mo. Hey, do it for Deuce and Mo. When it comes to the Kings, big hopes and dreams as we cover our kings. Never cover the kingdom, but we loving our kings. And we covered your prayers as we doing our thing. Big Deuce with the par, Lil Mo on the screen. Solo or together, still do it for team. Never switch up for $1 or revenue stream. So we always got each other, balance out the beam. Deuce and Mo, and that's the end of the theme song. Do it for Deuce and Mo, Deuce and Mo. Hey, do it for Deuce and Mo. When it comes to the Kings, that's my favorite show. Yep, do it for Deuce and Mo, Deuce and Mo. Hey, do it for Deuce and Mo. When it comes to the Kings,
We are live!
what up, Deuce?
Hey, what's up, buddy?
Hey, Morgan.
Hi.
I'm rooting for you.
I'm glad you are.
Let's go, Kings.
So good to be live with you tonight after a tough Kings loss. I'm Deuce Mason. That's Morgan Reagan. Woo! Sorry. If you guys know, can I just give a little behind the scenes?
I was expecting you to, because you're so funny.
So hear me out for a second before we dive in. A little peek behind the curtain. I get back to the studios. I see toilet paper everywhere. Thanks, Carlin Bojack. But then, so I go live with the first link. We get everything set up, whatever. It's toilet paper, not a big deal. Go live with the first link. I'm getting ready to start the podcast. And instead of hitting the record button, I hit live again, which turns off the stream and you have to do a new link.
It's tough sometimes, but haste makes waste, and you're okay. And
You don't even know what that means.
To define haste makes waste, it means when you're just in this jumble of your thoughts and you're like, oh my gosh, well, I got to get everything done quick because there's toilet paper over here and all these things are going on. And then you make a mistake because
Okay.
no, and I feel bad. You do so much. Do you want the love and validation that you deserve right now?
Yeah, I do. Actually, I do.
Okay.
Real fast. Shout out to everyone watching us tonight. Make sure to hit the thumbs up button if you are starting to filter on into night chat. Morgan's going to sound a little different tonight because she doesn't have an awesome mic like me. She is in San Francisco at the NBC Sports California studios where she just wrapped up doing pre-half and post for Kings Heat. Morgan, there's a lot to go over with this game.
Where do you want to start?
We could start the podcast. I'm just a little frustrated. I'm frustrated with many things. I wanted that one tonight, and I'm starting to get more competitive as the season goes on because I feel like this team is so close. They're just so close. I think through 7 games, I know we could save some of this. Through 7 games, I clearly think this team is far superior than the stuff we saw last year.
Oh, totally.
Okay.
And yeah. Well, let's actually talk about that on the actual pod too.
Yeah, we got to talk about that. We got to talk about what Mike Brown had to say after the game, what happened down the stretch. God, there is so much to go over tonight on Night Chat. I'm going to make sure I'm all squared away. Do you tweet about it and everything? Yes, you did.
Yeah, I tweeted
With the
about
new
it.
link. New link. Who dis?
New link. Who dis?
All right. Deuce and Mo, we're not starting yet, actually. I take it back. It's only fair that I give a little roll call love real fast. Shout out to Big Pudge, Insane Cookies, and Joe, and Leader Yang. Chewy! Delivery Joe's here, along with Jay Gomez, and how about David V? Am I being that loud? And it's
No,
coming through?
That was one of my things popped up and I had to
You
mute
ruined my roll call. I'm not done. David, these kids in Sacktown, untouchable. Joe, Mr. Turtle, Ash. Oh, of course, Drew's here with Tony and Jeffrey and Nick, Hector and Danny the baby. Daddy's hanging out with Joel and Benny, Emilio, Ralph. Nick, yours low. Hector, who am I missing? Jabone. Sean, what up? And Drew, a Showtime appearance. What's up, Paulius and Brian? All right, let's not waste any more time, Clint and West Sac Kings fan. And your name is actually pronounced Litter. My bad. Litter Yang. My bad. All right. Deuce and Mo coming down. 3, 2, 1. Hitting my music.
Deuce and Mo. Deuce and Mo. Deuce and Mo. They tell you what they know. Deuce and Mo. Deuce and Mo. Deuce and Mo. The podcast that you know.
Hey, welcome into the Deuce and Mo podcast. Recording this on a Wednesday night after the Kings fall short to the Miami Heats, 110-107. A close game with 26 lead changes, but the last one was a big one. It broke a tie. It was a Tyler Herro 3 that drew a lot of controversy tonight because Mike Brown said that was a travel. We got a lot to go over tonight. The Kings did not play with De'Aaron Fox. He missed a game with that knee bruise, and Jimmy Butler missed a game for the Miami Heat. I'm Deuce Mason. That's Morgan Reagan. Each and every one of our first thoughts presented by our friends over at the Detail Pros of Sacramento. I'm in Sacramento tonight. Morgan's in San Francisco at the NBC Sports California studios, where she hosted pre, half, and post for Kings Heat with Matt Barnes. Morgan, how the hell are you?
I'm good. I had a lot of fun. It's tough because you and I before the podcast, and then Matt and I during even the post-game show, we're talking a little bit like, hey, there's no moral victories. And I'm so with that. But I think as a basketball analyst, as a basketball fan, as someone who loves the game, you're allowed to be excited about things that you saw that were good. And especially when it's not like last year or the last couple of seasons where it's like you're seeing glimpses of things that are good. You're seeing growth game by game. You're seeing competent basketball out there. And that's why I know the standards are low, but I can still be excited about that being here in Sacramento.
I mean, we definitely saw some good things tonight, and I think we've talked about this a lot. It's weird when you look at this team being 2-5 now. And for me, I look at how they've been playing, the effort they're playing, how the offense has looked. I mean, if you just looked just strictly tonight, you hold an opponent to 110. You shoot 47%. You have 29 assists and just 12 turnovers on the road. You probably like your chances most nights. Yeah. Unfortunately, it wasn't enough down the stretch, and there are a lot of things to point to with this game. But I think my big step back with this team is I do think through 7 games, I'm not hitting the panic button. I think there's more good than bad. I know it doesn't show in the win-loss column completely, but really they've gotten outclassed really bad in that one Warriors game, right? Like, I feel like they've been in every game. They've had some nice moments, and ultimately you have to start closing out some of these games, but I hope they can learn from the final 3 minutes of this one.
Yeah, you talked about that on our post-game show tonight on NBC Sports, and I thought that was a great take because it's so true. There are so many mistakes that were made defensively by this King squad, and not to take away credit from Miami and what players were doing a good job with the ball, whether it was Tyler Herro or the vet Kyle Lowry or Bam Adebayo. Like, they have solid pieces, so you're going to expect that. But when the Kings have things going their way and they're flowing and they're feeling good, it's tough when you see those little mistakes happen there at the end in crunch time.
So what's your big takeaway from this Kings loss tonight? What's the first thing that comes to mind? Is it the final play where Tyler Herro hits the three to put Miami ahead 110-107?
It wasn't until I saw it on Twitter. I can't believe I didn't notice it live or even with a replay. It's the most frustrating thing. So we'll get to that. And sure, that should be the biggest story. But I think one of my favorite storylines too was Sabonis hitting his free throws in a very clutch moment, because I didn't even believe in him in those moments. I was like,
well, and that first one on that last set of free throws, that first one wanted to fall out.
yeah,
It scared the shit out of me.
yeah, dude. And then even he could have had the and one. That was a little, it's just sometimes where I'm like, oh, just throw it down. You want to pick apart the game like that. But at the same time, hitting those clutch free throws, and then Davion Mitchell having some very big plays there at the end once again for this squad without De'Aaron Fox. That's where some of the good comes in toward the end for me.
Well, the thing that I think most people are talking about now is that final play where it looked like Tyler Herro traveled. I may be in the minority of this. It's hard to be upset with that one play. Like, to me, the Kings down the stretch made a lot of poor choices offensively, and credit Miami, who's obviously a veteran team. They've been together. They know each other well. They are a good defensive team. They know how to get in the guys. They know how to finish games together, even with people missing. They did it last night against the Warriors, second half back-to-back, close game. They do it down the stretch, but this offense, when it's at its best, it's what Mike Brown wants, which is it's a free-flowing offense, quick decisions, make the right passes, keep the movement going. And I felt like as Miami started to get that game a little tighter in that fourth quarter, right around the 3-minute mark, the Kings played tight. I felt like they got a little rattled. There was some indecisiveness from the team. I saw HB with a tough shot. He also had another drive baseline that Brown said after the game should have been called a foul in real time. I just thought that was not a great look for the Kings anyway. It was going to be a desperation look, and sure, that would have been a bailout foul, whatever. And then Monk had a turnover. I point to that sequence, 2:41, HB misses that shot, no call. Gabe Vincent hits a layup to give Miami the lead. Then Malik Monk, who was really outstanding tonight, you can't take this one moment, can't just define him here, because I thought he was a key reason why the Kings were in this game tonight. He gets trapped, turns the ball over. Strus hits a three, 103-99. I thought that was a dagger there. Credit the Kings for making it a game again. You mentioned Davion Mitchell, but I think Miami showed that they can execute down the stretch of a game. They know how to get stops and then execute offensively. There were some second chance baskets that proved to be timely. There were just so many big plays late in the game where I felt like Miami showed up and Sacramento got rattled a bit.
Yeah. And I would say that's a fair way to define it. And I think these are very coachable and growing moments for this squad, because you see so much of it there. It's not like they totally just shit the bed and everything was screwed up and it's like, okay, well, they got to learn from this. You're seeing so many different parts that are factoring in to their late game stuff that was more positive. But in those moments, you're absolutely right. And how do you grow off that? Well, you start now, you start like where you're building that foundation. Miami Heat, they have built their foundation for so long now with Eric Spoelstra that they're capable of going into a 2-3 zone and being able to dominate a team, being able to change the speed and the pace that a team wants to play. And so that's why with the Kings and everything that they didn't have going for them, Kevin Huerter getting hurt there halfway through toward the end of the fourth, not having De'Aaron Fox. There was a lot of adversity that they were facing. And in those moments, they need a leader. They need someone who's not going to be streaky, who's going to make the right call, who's going to do things right out there on the floor.
The one thing that was apparent to me, and just to be clear, Kevin Herter did come back into the game after going to the locker room briefly, took an awkward step on a layup. It was really weird. He goes back to the locker room, ends up coming back in the game. But watching the game tonight, especially late, I'm going, God, this is where you miss Fox. You know what I mean? Fox has been so good this year, and to get a guy downhill to attack the paint, get through the gaps and create or get to the free throw line would have been massive tonight, you know, and they obviously did not have that in this game. They definitely had some players who stepped up big time. I thought Kevin Herter had another nice game. He ends up 9 of 17 with 22 points. Malik Monk, 22 minutes. He had 19 points. He had 7 assists. He did have 3 turnovers, but I felt like he provided a big spark. And then Sabonis, who I felt like he needed to step up tonight. Like Sabonis had to be aggressive. He came out tonight, 22 points, 12 rebounds, 8 assists.
Dude, that was really cool to see Sabonis step up tonight in so many different ways. You saw him in this 2-man game with Kevin Herter, with Malik Monk. It was just dropping dimes, just commanding people to move without the basketball. There was so much good coming from just his presence out there. A foulless first half for Sabonis as well.
Yeah, can we talk about that for a second? Because give him a lot of credit because he has fouled out the last couple of games. Sabonis did get called for a foul in that first half. It would have been his first. It was 35 seconds to go in the second quarter. And Mike Brown elects to challenge it. I just want one time for there to be a challenge left into the fourth quarter. You know, you can make the case, hey, he's trying to stand up for his guy here. You can stand up for your guy without challenging that play. One, it was his first foul. Even if it stands, whatever, right? Like, it was on Dedmon. It wasn't on Bam. To me, you don't lose your challenge. And I know so many people go, well, that's what sucks about the rule. Like, if you win a challenge, you should be able to challenge again. Yeah, I agree with that. But here is the rule now. You use your challenge, you get 1 a game. And when you use it on a play with 35.9 left, when it's Sabonis' first foul, I don't get it. Like, I'd rather have that late. Now, just to be clear, they cannot challenge a non-call. So, like, that play late with Tyler Herro, even if you thought he traveled, you can't challenge that play anyway. So, it's not even for that. I just like to have that in my bag late in games.
And that's, I text you in that moment because I was feeling good about that call and that obviously it was overturned.
I mean, he won the challenge, but, like, to me, it's not about winning. It's about using it at the right time.
Deuce. Cool it, bud. Cool it, okay? That's what I was going to get to with you, okay? I was going to talk about how once I text you and I was like, what'd you think about that challenge? And you're like, hate it, you know? And that was even after Mike Brown won the challenge. And I understood exactly what you meant in that moment. And it made me change my perspective a little bit more because I'm like, you're right, this is still a close one. It was only going to be his first, and I get sticking up for your guy. I get when you see something wrong, you want to make it right, and it was an obvious call and everything, and it's like, hey, you only get 1 challenge, you might as well use it at some point in the game, but why not be sure to use it late in the game and have that at least in your back pocket? And I think that's a strategy that should be used. I don't think people should be as upset as you are with that challenge being used there because there wasn't anything that ended up being a big deal. But if there was something that was going to be a big deal there in the fourth, yeah, we'd be talking about it and I'd be a little bit more pissed off.
I want to get to that travel, and then we'll rewind and talk about some of the good and bad highs and lows from this game. Mike Brown, you know, I after seeing it on Twitter, I'm like, I think that might have been a travel. And then Brown post-game really opened up about it. And you know he was really mad because he didn't sound mad. You know, isn't that the worst kind of mad? When it just sounds like he's more disappointed than anything. He does it in such a calm manner. You're like, oh, man. He is really upset. Anyway, if you guys didn't hear it, here's Mike Brown post-game talking about that final three by Herro and how it should have been a travel.
We got a lot of respect for the program, Miami Heat, Spoelstra, and everything that they've done. And Tyler Herro's a great player. But at the end, he traveled. He traveled on the last play, and I would not be doing my job if I didn't come up here and protect my guys. My guys fought their behind off for close to 48 minutes, and to pump fake on a sidestep, and then sidestep or hop, and then 1-2 and a shot, and not make that call. To me, it's just unbelievable. And that's not why we lost the game. Although I didn't think we got a fair whistle, and I hope when the officials go back and look at the game, they can see it. I thought Harrison got bumped on a drive that wasn't called. That was a huge momentum swing for these guys. And I kept telling the officials, I do. They're all great guys and they're good officials. But at the end of the day, we have to go earn our respect. Because right now, people get caught up in the hype and the crowd and the excitement of the crowd, and they look at what's on our jersey, I'm assuming, and see Kings and maybe expect us to lose. I don't know. But it's just two, blatant calls that were right in front of guys. And I feel bad for my players. Again, we lost. You got to own up to it. But when you have a team fighting, both teams fighting as hard as they fought down the stretch of a back-and-forth game, and you're going to, not make the right call, right? It's right in front of you. And then just say, I didn't see it. That's tough. But then give them calls that are right in front of you. It's tough to swallow as a coach because, again, you just feel for how hard your guys work. Malik came off and had a fantastic game for us. Deli came off and had a fantastic game for us. And it was just it's a shame that the game was called the way it was, especially in the fourth quarter.
I saw you kind of telling the refs right after, you thought it was a travel. Did they say anything to you?
Yeah, they said it wasn't. They said it wasn't a travel. And so, if that's not a travel, I don't know what the definition of a travel is. And, again, I don't know. Maybe they're caught up in the excitement of the crowd. Maybe it's the Miami Heat and we're the Sacramento Kings, and that's Tyler Herro, and it's a last-second shot or walk-off. What do they call it? Walk-off homer. So walk-off homer shot, maybe. Maybe they're caught up. I don't know. But I am by no means a ref, and their job is as hard as hell, But it's an ISO situation. It's one-on-one, and you're looking at the ball.
There's Mike Brown. And, he was very honest there. I don't know if it was also like, I'm going to be calm because I'm angry, or also, hey, let me just really be assertive with how I'm saying this, but also try not to get fined.
Two things with that too.
Yeah.
What sucks about it, because some people are like, well, Tyler Herro still made the shot, but the travel benefited his shot making ability in that moment.
Hell of a shot, though. Hell of a shot.
Oh,
dude.
Absolutely. But it created the space he needed from TD to get that shot off. And I don't doubt Tyler Herro's ability to shoot the basketball contested with a hand in his face. He's been incredible with his scoring ability. So I'm not saying that, but it is frustrating when you do see that it is something that helped his shot. But the other thing, Deuce, I really want to say really quick is that Matt Barnes is like, the official is supposed to be looking at the feet. You're supposed to be saying, hey, is this a 3? Is this a 2? I'm the official up here. I'm looking at the feet. And the official looked like he was looking at the feet, but he must have not been doing his job.
Man. It's tough for Sacramento. And, those are the calls you wish you could get. And then there's just going to be plays that they wish they could have executed better in the final stretch of that game. It's a tough one. The Kings fall to 2-5 with a 110-107 loss. I mean, you did split against Miami. You played them twice already. They're done. You're done with Miami now. That's the good news. And the better news is next game, you don't play until Saturday, and it's the Orlando Magic, who are 1-7. They play some funky-ass lineups. We'll talk about them in a bit, but, that's a game you got to win. And then you're 3-5. It would have been nicer to be talking about 4-4 right now, like a chance at 4-4 coming up on Saturday. But taking a step back, I like how the team's playing right now. They're not perfect. No one's acting as if this is a 50-win team. I think most people are, rational enough to know, are we seeing growth? Are there certain guys stepping up? Sabonis stepped up tonight. Kevin Herter has been one of their best players. What a pickup. And they almost won a game on the road without De'Aaron Fox.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I know it's not about almost. I'm not trying to be soft here, but I'm seeing enough good right now, especially offensively, that you clean up a couple of things, can execute down the stretch. You start winning these games. I think ultimately it's about going back to what Jordy Fernandez was telling the Summer League squad at the beginning of Summer League training camp. He's like, I don't give 4 Fs about winning or losing. It's about how you win and how you lose. And I think for the most part this year, it's been hard to question the Kings full out effort. There's some execution stuff, maybe some chemistry stuff with a new group and a new system. It's weird to feel okay right now at 2-5.
Two things. So then I don't forget. 2 things. I wanted to say one of the positives was the turnovers. You saw 6 in that first half, and only 6 points were scored off of those 6 turnovers in that first half by the Miami Heat. They ended up finishing with 12 turnovers, and I'll take that on a night you're going up not only against a better team like the Miami Heat, but you're doing a better job of understanding the small mistakes a good team will take advantage and capitalize on. That was one thing. The other thing was, you talked about their offense and how fun it was. People were understanding the importance of moving without the basketball, of keeping the flow going. Now, I know that wasn't the case late down in the down the stretch, but that's also where good teams do figure that out. And they understand the importance of staying with your game and no one playing hero ball, and don't be timid, don't be stagnant. So I was pleased to see so many good basketball things happening with this King squad tonight, even in this loss.
Morgan, a couple of things. You talk about how close this game was. Let's go quarter by quarter. First quarter, 33-23 Heat, 1 point separation. Second quarter, 2019 Heat, 1 point separation. Third quarter, 25-24 Kings, 1 point separation. And then the fourth, Miami outscored Sacramento 33-31 by 2. We saw 26 lead changes. The game was tied 12 times. The biggest lead in the game, Miami led by 7 at one point. The Kings led by 6. It was a close game. This is what happens. Close game. You got to figure it out, and hopefully you start winning some of these and you clean it up. Sure. You talk about the offense. There was some sexiness. You know what I love, Morgan? We talked about before the season started. We saw during the preseason, Sabonis getting a rebound and pushing in transition. I felt like he was doing that a lot tonight in the first quarter. He's pushing it, leads to a dribble handoff for a Herter 3. His little 2-man game going on. Sabonis had some really fun moments tonight, and I actually thought the Kings competed well defensively. Were there still breakdowns? Yes, but I'm actually seeing some positive signs on that end as well.
Yeah, it was fun to see when guys were rotating over and things were going well on the defensive end. Not an easy team to stop. Kyle Lowry started going off and getting hot, and that was getting a little scary. I mean, I forget how many points he ended up in that first half, but remember he had
19 in the first half. He finished with 22, which is a season high.
Wow. And so I just remember when he had those 19 points, and I was just so impressed by his play and how he was getting to his spots. And I was like, okay, how are the Kings going to adjust on him? And they made those adjustments. They didn't pick him up so high up and understood where he wanted to get on the floor, not letting him get to all of his spots in that second half. So that was nice to see. But something else that I know we've touched on as he's been playing red hot to start this season, Kevin Herter. Deuce, how many times have you and I talked about, isn't it weird that people don't try to mirror Steph Curry's game a little bit more? And I'm not acting like Kevin Herter is Steph Curry,
You're
everyone.
talking about moving without the ball?
The movement without the ball, his flow, his understanding of how to move without the ball, understanding his big and how to come off his big with a dribble handoff, timing, all of it. He's so smart with the way that he is moving without the basketball and then hitting these big shots, becoming that threat and having teams having to chase him. It's just been some high level basketball being played by Kevin Herter.
I want to go over a couple of notes too. I mentioned Sabonis in transition. You're talking about Herter. I want to go to the second quarter. I thought Keegan had some nice moments in that second quarter. He had a great pass to Sabonis for a score. Just dropped a beautiful dime bounce pass. Sabonis was able to put it in. He did have a turnover on a forced pass, which you go, okay. But then he comes back, has an awesome block from behind. He had 2 blocks again tonight. And I'm telling you, I think this is an area with him that I think is only going to get better because I think he can really help this team defensively. Yeah. And then he took a charge on Bam. Like, he had an impact. And it wasn't Keegan's best night. He ends up not playing the final 9:26 of the game. And I got to be honest, it did surprise me. You know, they elect to go with HB. I think they finished with Mitchell, Monk, Herter, Barnes, and Sabonis. And I get it. Monk was going. You want to have Mitchell out there as like a defensive stopper and like your point guard. But I just think Keegan, even if he didn't have his best night tonight, I trust that he's going to come up with a play, right? Like it's going to be a big shot or it's going to be a nice defensive play. They need some stops at the end. I was a little surprised we didn't see Keegan Murray for the final 9:26.
Not only not seeing Keegan, Deuce, I'm not going to make a big deal out of it. Isn't it a little weird we're not seeing KZ Okpala at all for these moments? Okay.
That's a very weird. Yes. I don't know. I don't know how you go from starting, even if you weren't playing a ton of minutes. He played like a combined 30 minutes, I think, the first few games, to not playing. And there have been times where you're like, hey, I mean, think about the end of the game tonight, right? Like, Terrence Davis did a great job on a switch to even contest Herro on that travel 3, whatever you want to call it. I thought Davis did a great job to stay with him and still contest the shot. Herro knocks it in.
Yeah.
But KZ's length defensively, right? He's just long. I mean, he's a guy that can defend. We saw him to start the year on Dame. We've seen him take other matchups. I think he should be part of the rotation. And I don't know, maybe there's something there we're not seeing when they're at practice or whatever, but it's just interesting a guy goes from starting to DNP CDs.
Yeah. I'm just more interested in it. I'm interested for the reasoning, more so I can learn why a coach and or Mike Brown, someone who I hope is going to be in Sacramento for a while, has that mindset when it comes to someone like KZ Okpala, especially when his preaching for defense and what type of player KZ Okpala is. It's just, I just want to gain more knowledge on it.
Yeah, I mean, I think part of this is, you know, he does want to shorten the rotation. He doesn't want to play a ton of guys, right? And so, you know, if you're playing KZ tonight instead, who's not playing? And, I mean, you look at the minutes, Morgan. Herter played 38. Mitchell played just under 30. Sabonis plays 37. Keegan played 27. Barnes 34. The guys who played the most off the bench tonight, Monk 22, Dellavedova played almost 20, Holmes only played 10, just under 11, Davis played 8, and Trey Lyles played just under 13. So just, you know, is it, hey, you play him instead of Lyles?
And it's like
I don't know.
Lyles has been showing his, you know,
he can knock down a shot. I mean,
right.
It get some rebounds, I guess. But, I mean, they bring you something different. And I don't know. I just think for a team that still is not, you know, great defensively at this point, they've shown some improvement for sure. I think KZ makes some sense. And if you want to just take a step back, I mean, just put him in for the final key possessions.
That's kind of where I'm going with this.
Yeah.
And that's where I'm surprised, because if you're just looking to get a big stop, you know what he's capable on some of the best players in this league. Does that take away confidence from another guy? Is that the case? I just want to know where Mike Brown's mindset is at as a head coach. And so then when I do talk about this,
Yeah.
I'm not naive to the whys.
In the third quarter, let's go to the third quarter. There was a group out there that I was really worried about defensively. They had a group. I've noted this down. It was Delly, Monk, Barnes, Lyle, Sabonis. And I felt like Miami was just carving them up. They did adjust a little bit. It got better. Shout out Sabonis, who hit his first 3 of the season tonight. And it was to give the Kings a lead at 74-72. That was a good thing. And I thought Malik Monk was huge in the third quarter. Instant energy, couple of threes. He had a block. I like what he did tonight.
He was everywhere. That's what was fun about his game. He was contributing everywhere because he is a streaky guy for the most part, from what we've seen from Malik Monk, not throughout his career, I would say. But he has these hot moments where he just shows, I'm a hooper. I know how to play this game. I can do so much more than just score. I can be there for my teammates and have some great moments where I become this threat offensively that it makes the defenses collapse on him, where he can find the open guy. It was fun watching him step up, especially without De'Aaron Fox in there tonight.
Other things that jumped out to you tonight, Morgan?
I said
Whether good or bad.
Yeah, no, I'm looking at
Davion's night was weird. I mean, I know he had a couple of big plays late to score to get the Kings back into it after they were down 103-99. You know, that's at the point you're thinking they're in trouble. But he ends up finishing with 9 points, 4 of 9 shooting, 1 of 4 from 3. He had 4 assists, 1 turnover.
I asked Matt before the game about, hey, Davion had a really good game, and Miami Heat have a really strong culture and standards when it comes to watching film and how to study a guy. They're going to know what to do to slow Davion Mitchell down. So what type of game does he need to have? And it was just talking about still playing how he was playing with confidence, but also finding ways to adjust your game. He's a smaller guard, and we've talked about that before, and he's not going to get deep in the paint and have the best opportunity to get a shot up. So is he going to get someone on the handles? Is he going to be that big presence on the defensive side if he can't do something on the offensive end? And it was nice that he had some big moments in crunch time. But yeah, I was hoping that he was going to have another big game. I think he will, though, again soon. I think he's still very confident. He still looked a little different than he did early on in the season, where the flow wasn't really coming to him. So I think even if De'Aaron Fox comes back in there, he's going to do okay and be efficient in his minutes.
Oh, one thing I wanted to bring up, this may make you nervous. A Kings player's dad had something to say on Twitter tonight.
Ooh, what?
What do you think? What are you thinking here?
What dad do I think it is?
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to guess like Marvin Bagley's dad.
No. Current player.
Oh,
a current player's
okay.
dad had something to say.
Was it good or bad? Because that's going to...
I can't tell you at this time.
Okay. Was it Keegan Murray's dad?
Yeah.
Oh, what'd he say?
Was it good or was it bad? Dun,
I'm
dun,
I'm going to guess it was...
Or, not really either way.
I'm going to say it was in the middle. What was it? It was a criticism. What was it?
So he was responding to Cameron Salerno from the Beat, who tweeted, Keegan was subbed out with 9:26 left in the game. He didn't return. He responded to that.
What did he say?
Are you nervous a little bit?
A little.
He says he wasn't great on defense. His shot wasn't falling, and he struggled a little bit in his defensive rotations. Good thing this is only game 7 of 82. He might have a chance to bounce back this season. Crying emoji laughing. The team is competing, every team is banged up. The Kings will be okay.
That is what I'm talking about. Thank you.
Even
That
his
a
dad is
great
perfect.
dad. That is a great dad right there, because that's how you're supposed to parent on and off the court. Can he get Dad of the Year award? Was it Father's Day yet? What can we're buying him something? Like, my God.
He was honest about it, man. He was honest about it.
Wow.
And also, complete sidebar, I was watching some of Chris Murray's highlights from Iowa last night. Morgan, and again, they're not playing like some crazy awesome school either.
Who cares?
Last night, it's just like a preseason thing. I'm seeing these highlights, and I'm like, how does Chris Murray, Keegan's twin brother, play exactly like him? I mean, his game looks the same. The only difference is he's left-handed. He shoots it left.
Dude.
I was watching it going, oh my God. Now I want to see him as the season goes on, but he's hitting threes. He's taking it to the basket. He plays good defense. I'm like, is this just Keegan Murray again? What the hell?
He like the flow to his shot, the way he takes it to the rack. Like, there was one, because you obviously made me watch these highlights, and I was like, yes. In the way that he threw it down and didn't have a stare down, but did a little bit of a flex after and was like, okay, I'm good. He's a lefty with a little bit more of a personality, I think, too. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens with that Murray brother.
Yeah.
How can the Kings get both brothers, you know?
Yeah. No, you have to have it. I want all Murrays on the squad.
Yeah. Coach. Yes.
Yeah. I would have liked to see Keegan play more down the stretch for sure.
Yeah. And it's tough too, because he's not going to come in every single game and hit all of his shots. So we're okay when he's contributing in so many different ways. And I know his dad broke down his defense and talked about a little bit where he was slow on rotations, but I noticed other times too, when he's one of those players that is so disciplined, that gets both feet out of the key, out of the paint to cut off baseline. Just a simple little fundamental thing that takes effort to get there. And I noticed those things with Keegan Murray, even on some of these more off nights for him. So,
man, I just think too, having him in the game late, it's not just like, oh, maybe makes a play defensively, but he just makes the right play offensively. And there were times where like the Kings offense looked a little, chaotic in that final couple minutes. Like they were being rushed. Like, would he have, if Sabonis is giving him the ball, is he making the right play? Whether it's him taking the shot or, pump fake, drive and kick, whatever, attacking. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe it's a teaching moment. I don't know. I just think it would have been nice to see him down the stretch. And I get they wanted to play Monk. He was having a good game. They had Mitchell in there. It's like, who do you sit? I think probably the best candidate to sit in that situation would have been Harrison Barnes.
I think sometimes too, Deuce, we talk about these rotations and the identity of this team. Mike Brown is still trying to figure it out. There's teams like the Miami Heat who are still trying to figure out their rotations when they don't have someone in Jimmy Butler playing, are we going to our guy Gabe Vincent? Can he be the guy that steps up next? Or does it need to be Kyle Lowry, who's 36 years old and is going to have nights where he doesn't last as long? So it's not weird to not have their rotations down for the Sacramento Kings already. And you hope to see it tighten up and not be super weird throughout the entire season. But I'm also like, I'm okay with these moments and being like, okay, he wanted to see what these guys could give him late in this game. And it wasn't Keegan Murray. And those nights are going to happen.
He did have the highest plus minus on the team tonight.
Of course he did.
+7 for him. There was only a few. He was the only starter with a positive plus minus tonight. +7.
Wow.
So he finishes with 7 points. He had 4 rebounds. He had 3 assists, a steal, 2 turnovers, 2 blocks, 3 of 7 shooting, 1 of 5 from a 3-point range in the loss tonight. We should mention that tonight's First Thoughts presented by our friends over at the Detail Pros of Sacramento. And Morgan Reagan, what's that? Oh, we have an update. We have an update. All of November, Deuce and Mo podcast listeners can get 20% off the Detail Pros gift certificates. Can be redeemed anytime after November. I would say that's a pretty awesome gift for the holidays, Morgan.
Deuce, I don't even care if my family is listening to this. I'm buying every single one of them a gift certificate. When Nick from the Detail Pros texted me today about this and saying he wanted to do this, because other people only get 10%, but Deuce and Mo podcast listeners get 20% off gift cards. So if you're looking for a stocking stuffer or just a good gift to shove in a box, a piece of paper to shove in a box,
Or,
and say, here is a car detailing from a local business, a Kings fan. Enjoy and you're welcome.
Or, like, don't get it for anyone but yourself. Just go get it to detailprosac.com, buy a gift card, use it on yourself later.
I was gonna buy myself.
Yeah,
Can I buy you one for Christmas?
Sure.
Too? Okay.
What? I want my car looking great inside and out. The Detail Pros of Sacramento, the best car detailing you can get. Plus, if you tell them you heard it from the Deuce and Mo podcast, you get a free paint sealant worth $125. And yes, if you go to detailprosac.com, get a gift card. You heard it from us. 20% off your gift card. Talk about a great gift from the holidays. So support a local business and a fellow Kings fan, Nick, over at the Detail Pros. Go to thedetailprosac.com. Appreciate everyone's support of the Deuce and Mo podcast. All right, Morgan, let's get to some good news involving the Sacramento Kings. I would say it's good news. Before the game today, Anthony Slater put out some video. He's, of course, from The Athletic. He was in Miami because the Warriors played last night, and he hung out to see the Kings play on the second night of a back-to-back. This morning, Fox was at shoot-around taking shots on the court. And in addition to that, Alex Kramers, who does work for Kings.com, put out a video that showed Fox again on the court getting shots up. So, to me, breaking news, not a doctor, that would suggest that maybe this isn't as crazy of a bone bruise as maybe some others. Maybe we see Fox back sooner than we think.
Yeah, I am excited to see this because I think it's very encouraging just to see him out there moving around and everything. I was trying to find the tweet too because former Kings trainer Pete Youngman, he responded to me retweeting that shoot around video, and I said encouraging, and he said yes, very. And he is a doctor, so you can trust his opinion a little bit. And I'm excited to see De'Aaron Fox just find his groove, be with the team, and nothing too serious, and be good to go, hopefully as soon as possible.
Maybe Saturday against Orlando?
Well, that would be the hopeful thing for him.
Or do you just go, hey, I'm not trying to get crazy here because the Kings are 2-5 and Orlando's 1-7, but do you go, we could beat Orlando without Fox. Let's have him ready for the Warriors game.
Yeah, I feel like when you're a team and an organization that has lost for so long, you have no room for that shit.
I mean, I think it's pretty simple. If he's ready to go and healthy and he feels great, you play him. That's how I look at it, right?
I'm with you. I don't think it's like save you for the next game. It's like, no, how about just play less minutes if that's the case? Like stay warm, stay active, keep your guys' flow up. And especially with De'Aaron Fox, who has been playing so hot this season.
Yeah, they missed him tonight, man.
They did, especially late down the stretch. It would have been nice to have. He's been a leader for this squad, and I wasn't expecting to see that this season. I was expecting to jump with the way he played the game, and how he maybe led through his game. But I see a lot of his teammates, they follow his lead, his tone, and he's setting the standards high with the way that he's taken it to the rack with authority and making some big plays down the stretch.
And then the other thing I think we should acknowledge too is he actually played some pretty good defense down the stretch on Tyler Herro when Miami was in town last week. Like he had some nice stops on him, and does that change things? Because Herro got it going. I mean, Herro had a hell of a game. We talk about that final shot, but the guy had 26 points. He also had 12 rebounds in the game tonight. I'm actually going to look at his fourth quarter numbers too, because I just want to be sure of what they were. It felt like he was just money for them late. Let's go to fourth quarter. Tyler Herro in the fourth quarter. Yeah, he had 13 of his 26 points in the fourth quarter, Morgan. He was 6 of 7, including that 3 late.
Dude, I got a little friend here.
Oh
my gosh.
Oh, Ashmere in the house. Ashmere, who also works for NBC Sports California.
We were just talking about Tyler Herro's game. What did you think about him?
Oh, I mean, from yesterday to today and the last time they played, like that guy's really good.
See?
Yeah.
But he also is like a little cheater.
Oh, she's dropping the cheater with that travel.
Yeah, didn't we all see? I actually made my first banner called Traveling Tyler.
Hey, I like that. I like that.
Man had his feet up.
Wait, could we just picture for a second though, if in that moment it's Miami, he just hit the 3 and the official blows a whistle. Travel. That official may not come out alive. He probably is like, we're not calling that. Oh, you know what's honestly garbage about it is like, early season, they're really on travels and carries. We saw it with Jordan Poole last night, but even tonight, Monk got called for a carry. So Poole was getting called for the carry. Monk got called for that, but they missed that one.
Yeah, it's a weird one to miss. And it's, I got more and more angry after I heard Mike Brown. But like we said, Tyler Herro is really good. Yeah. And it's fun watching a player like him do good things, just not against the Sacramento Kings.
Somebody said they want to see the replay. It's on NBC S Kings. Okay?
Yes, we can't show it on our
plug there for the NBC Sports Twitter handle.
Yeah,
okay,
check it out on Twitter.
I said I'm here, but I have to go now.
Okay.
All right. See you, Ashmere. Thanks for saying hi.
Yeah. I'll talk to you later.
Appreciate that. So Kings and Orlando coming up on Saturday. I was watching some of their game last night. I was sitting down watching OKC Orlando with some weird ass lineups. I mean, they got Wagner out there. They got Bull. They've got a ton of bigs. Banchero. It's an interesting team. They ended up missing their last 11 shots of the game against OKC and lost the game. So they're 1-7, but they're interesting, and Banchero can get buckets. At least we get the Banchero-Keegan matchup coming up on Saturday.
Well, and that's what I'm worried about too, Deuce. I'm just worried about a team that is desperate for a win that, like you said, we've seen, and they're actually fun out there. They're big, they're long. You got Mo Bamba, you got Bull, you got Franz Wagner. Like, they can get crafty and actually make things happen and make teams sweat. But then it's just like you said, down the stretch, they're just a young team that don't know how to close it out. So I don't want it to be against the Sacramento Kings. I don't want this King squad to get the Miami flu tonight.
Oh, get it tonight. Just be ready for Saturday. Go ahead. Look, they're in, and this is the thing. The Kings are in Miami. They were out on a yacht last night. They had a game today. I think they're off tomorrow. And then, get Friday, and you got a game Saturday. I mean, it's just, think about us, okay? Any human being. If you go on a work trip and you got like a day off in between, you can have one night where you go out and have fun. It doesn't mean you have to go black out and be dumb or anything. And I'll be honest, this generation, the younger generation of NBA players, they don't go as ham as previous generations.
Facts.
I'm sure you have some, for sure.
Yeah.
Every group has that couple wild cards, but really, Keegan is asleep right now. Bet that Keegan Murray's asleep. He probably had some unsalted, non-buttered popcorn.
Oh.
Maybe like a glass of like oat milk.
What?
And then he washed his face. He flossed.
He's not 80, dude.
He's night. He put on his PJs with his nightcap, and he went to bed. Or he went to Keegan's the type that would go to Topgolf in Miami.
His nightly routine. I like it. That's my kind of player right there. I was not like that at 22 years old, but I'm definitely like that now. So I can feel that.
I feel like it's a different generation. I do.
I agree. I think a lot of if the Gen Zers or whatever, they saw a lot of what drinking and even drugs and all these awful things partying could do, and they're like, what's the point? Why would we do that? And then of course there's going to be some who just grow up in a lifestyle where that's just what they do and they're used to it and grow out of it, and some never grow out of it.
Keegan does not look at his phone before bed. He actually reads a little bit and then goes to bed. With no TV on.
Oh, you're so He's probably listening to some like meditation thing before bed.
I know you have to drive back to Sacramento. I did want to give you this poll question. I want you to guess where it's at.
Okay.
Don't look.
Okay.
The Kings are 2-5. How are you feeling? Here are the options. Getting a little nervous, same old Kings, and they're close. It's still early. What do you think the winner is of this right now? They're close. It's still early. Same old Kings, or getting a little nervous.
Getting a little nervous.
No. The leader is they're close. It's still early at 76% of people.
I'm so proud. So proud of people. What's the next one?
Same old Kings at 13% and getting a little nervous at 11%. Not bad. Not bad. Yeah.
Do you want me to know what I voted for?
Yes.
I voted for the last one.
Getting a little nervous?
No, the one that's like it's early.
They're close. They're getting close. It's early. Yeah, I'm with you there. I'm still optimistic about things. One, let's talk about this for a second, Morgan. They've had a really tough schedule. The fact that they still play the Warriors 2 more times in the first 12 games of the season, it's probably the best time to play the Warriors in a way, right? Like the Warriors they've lost 3 in a row. They're in a bit of a funk. They're not playing good defense. Their bench has been dreadful. Like they can't really figure it out. You go from having a group with GP2, Bielitsa, Otto Porter last year. Now you're asking these younger guys to step up and play a role. Wiseman struggled a bit. Moody up and down. Kuminga's not really even playing. So, Ty Jerome is getting minutes for them. So they're just kind of in this weird position right now. So it's probably a good time to play them. But the schedule has been tough. They've been in games. Now you just can't lose on Saturday is my point. And those are the games you circle and go, you can't lose that game. I don't care if Fox isn't playing. That's a game that you go and figure it out. It's a weird early start time. It's a 2 p.m. West Coast start time. I don't think that matters much, to be honest. You're on the East Coast. That's 5 o'clock there. You played a 3 p.m. game at home last week. Who cares? There's just no excuse. And I know Orlando's got talent. We talked about some of the guys. You can't lose that game.
And you're more adjusted to the clock, right? Like you're there for a couple days. You're chilling. So not only are you chilling a little bit with your body, but you're also getting those shoot arounds in, getting the practice in. And there's so much of this time between games that you can use to benefit yourself, to benefit the team. And I'm hoping that's what they do and they capitalize on this. I think they have the right coaching staff and the right management in place to be able to do that the right way. I really hate putting the pressure on this. Like, you got to win this one, but it's true. I don't care. It's with the old Kings team. It was so hard saying that because I never felt it or really even felt like I could mean it, because you just never knew what kind of shit basketball you were going to see at times. But with this team, there's standards in place, not only from their coaching staff, but I think now from media, from fans. Like, we're seeing something where we have more standards, and seeing competent basketball being played here tonight was a lot of fun. There was a lot of moments that we have criticized down the stretch, and now against the Orlando Magic, you better play some really good basketball, because if you're playing some bad basketball against a bad team, that's when I think that poll is going to be a lot different.
All right, Morgan, I know you have to drive back to Sacramento. You're in San Francisco. Thanks for hanging out. I'm going to hang out and talk with YouTube and Twitch chat, take questions, maybe some Discord if people are there too. Just hang out and talk some hoops and some Kings. So good job. GG's.
Hey, thanks. Are you jumping into Twitter Spaces too tonight or no?
No.
Okay.
I mean,
cool.
should I?
Well, no, I was just because I was finding which one do I want to tune into. I think I will tune into on my way home the YouTube or Discord.
Should I do Twitter Spaces?
And if you do that, then I'll jump in there too. I love hearing.
But should I do that?
I say, give me a hell yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
It just, when This is me working on the fly right now, which is great.
Oh,
You know
yeah.
what? I can't. My battery's almost dead. My charger's not
Oh,
right here.
okay. Well, then I'm gonna jump into the Discord and hear, or Discord and or YouTube and hear what everyone's got to say.
All
I'm
right.
excited about all your opinions. Let's go. Give me a good car ride home.
It's not going to be that much longer, but for sure. All right. See you, Morgan.
Bye, guys.
All right. That's TV's Morgan Reagan checking in with us. Appreciate you guys being here. Let me switch this. Let's chat some more, guys. I want to chat with you. You guys are now officially my co-host, whether it's in the live chat on YouTube or Twitch, or if you want to hop in Discord and chat with us too. One interesting point, I forget who said it, but someone was mentioning the fact that Miami down the stretch had like 3 guys that you can go to. They've got Lowry, they've got Herro, and I guess you say Bam. I don't know if you go to him, but the guy was still a monster tonight. 20 points, 11 rebounds, 6 assists. Lowry had a great first half. And then who was the Kings' go-to guy? You know, Monk made some plays. Sabonis made some plays. But without Fox, that's your guy to create something. And they missed that big time tonight. That was a big deal. Hey, shout out to our guy Kenneth, by the way. Let's give Kenneth some love again.
Give me a hell yeah.
He gifted 50 YouTube memberships. He also donated $50. Says Deuce got a camera in Keegan Murray's room. I do not. That is unconfirmed. Let's see here. Brian says, talking about Keegan Murray's dad, he says Kenyon was a tremendous defender at Iowa. He's currently a girls basketball high school coach and was Keegan and Chris's private coach for most of their life. That's good knowledge. That's great knowledge. I knew about that. I didn't realize he was still coaching, but that makes sense that he was breaking that down. Bishop's Gallery wants us to know that the Kings are getting fleeced by the front office. No money, no players, no wins. Bishops, I don't think I've ever seen you say anything remotely positive in the chat. And the reality is there are just certain fans out there that even if you won 2 straight titles, they would find a reason to be upset about something. Kings aren't winning yet, and it's fine. But if you don't see some positive signs, then to me, I just go, you're not watching enough. If you don't see that this team has more talent and that they are doing some good things out there, then you're not paying attention. And like, I don't know how you could walk away and be pissed about tonight's outcome. Like, you could be upset because of that missed call late. You could be upset that maybe the execution wasn't great down the stretch, but you're also missing your best guy. And your best guy who has not only been a key cog over the years, but he's been playing the best basketball of his career on both ends. And when he just played this team, he battled his ass off and had some good defense on Tyler Herro. You can't tell me that he wouldn't have impacted that. And yeah, I get that they lost, but it's just like I said the other night when they beat the Hornets. I was like, yo, if you start that game like you did, if you play like that against the Heat, you're losing by 20 plus. You can take bad from wins. You can't ignore that. You can't ignore the bad at all. And you could take good from losses. Life is not just, hey, you lost, so everything is bad. It sucks. A loss is not a loss. There's a lot of factors. A win is not a win. There's so many things that go into it. There's schedule. There's injuries. You want to see how a team's playing competitively. Are they playing with a spirit? Are they running the stuff? Are they learning from their mistakes? Those are all things you want to see. You want to see that type of progress. And if you don't, that's when you get concerned. But to me, I'm not to that point where I'm concerned about the Kings. There's still some rotational things they have to figure out. They still have a flawed roster, but I thought they actually played well tonight, and they had their chances. They weren't perfect, and when you are without one of your best guys on the road, down the stretch in a close game, you almost have to play perfect to win. They almost had to win. They fell short. You move on. You get ready for Orlando. Let's go. Let's kick things off tonight in Discord with someone that we did not see last time. Let's welcome in Nick.
Deuce Mason, why not?
Why not? They lost tonight, Nick.
Yeah, we need to start winning some games. We need to get more wins.
Yeah. So how do we do it, Nick? You're the coach. How do we figure this out and bounce back?
Play some better defense and get on the court. Play your better defense and start and start winning. Stay on your guy.
Stay on your guy. That's it.
And stay on him.
Stay on him and stay on him. It's that simple. What are you doing tonight, man? You look like you're naked Nick tonight. You're going shirtless tonight?
Well, I'm watching TV and I don't have to work tomorrow at the River Cat, so I'm off tomorrow.
Nick is off tomorrow. Give him a hell yeah.
And then also, the River Cats are hosting Exjant.
I'm sorry?
The River Cats are hosting Exjant.
What's that?
It's where they have a big thing where they have a big event over there.
Nick, can we just also note that you realize you're on camera right now, right?
Yes.
Okay. All right. It didn't look like you realized it. All right. Well, you are naked. Put some clothes on and go get some sleep, all right?
Hey, why not?
Why not? Sleep dreams, dude.
Hey, where's Morgan? What happened to her? What happened to Morgan?
She was in San Francisco. She's got to drive back to Sacramento, man.
Hey, why not? Why not Morgan hear us? Why not have her come back on?
Okay. Thanks, Nick. Sleep dreams.
Sleep dreams.
There's Nick. Naked Nick, always coming through. Peter in the chat says we played bad basketball for a year. This year it's good basketball. Yeah, I think there's been more good than bad this year, and there's definitely going to be some people who are like, dude, I've been waiting for 16 years to make the playoffs. I'm not getting excited by, hey, we played well for a stretch. We're 2-5. I get that part. I understand that part of it too, but I think you do have to be realistic with where they're at. And I guess my pushback on anybody would be, where did you think they would be when you looked at the schedule before the season? I was hoping for the first 10 games to be like 4-6, 5-5. Well, they're 2-5 right now. And there's some tough games coming up, right? Like Orlando, you should win that game. You got a tough game against the Warriors, even if they're not playing well. You know they're going to be back home. They need a win. You've got the Cavs. You've got the Lakers. So the reality is, look at the schedule all you want. This team is probably going to be right around the 500 mark, and they got to stay in that range. Every game in the league, I don't think there's an easy game. I just don't. You know, there's games that you go, oh, you like your chances. Like Orlando, I go, oh, you should win that game. But around the league, it's like every night there's talented teams. Hell, OKC, they're winning games right now. I don't know if Sam Presti likes it. I don't know how long it's going to continue. They're winning games. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is healthy right now and is playing incredible basketball, averaging over 30 points a game. In that game against Orlando last night, not only is he making big plays, he's defending a 6'10 dude in Franz Wagner who's super talented. Yeah, again, SGA is defending 6'10 Franz Wagner, and then he's hitting big shots, playing good defense. There's just so much freaking talent in this league, and it's really impressive. And so if the Kings are going to be a play-in team, if they're going to be a playoff team, more likely play-in, it's going to be a grind to get there, and you just have to deal with the ups and downs and hopefully learn lessons along the way. Blake says, I like the methodical approach from Mike Brown. Dude doesn't get desperate. It will pay off by the end of the season. Peter also says, we have more talent, better coaching. There is effort. It's still very early into building a team and getting to know each other. Championship teams have way more time together. That last line is like exactly right. When you take a step back and look at a team like Miami, those guys have played together. And even though Lowry's in his second year, I mean, this guy has experience on a championship team and really good playoff teams. Tyler Herro's played in the finals. Bam Adebayo. Like, Gabe Vincent's been there for a few years. There's a lot of just cohesiveness. And by the way, you have a culture that has been in place because you have tremendous leadership with Pat Riley and Eric Spoelstra. So they know how to play the right way. And hell, they even got off to a slow start. They're 4-5. So like they're also a team that's trying to adjust roles, right? They lose PJ Tucker. All of a sudden, Caleb Martin's starting for them now, right? Guys are getting used to positions where you have people in and out of the lineup. It's not easy. And Kyle Lowry had gone off to a really slow start. Had a great game tonight. Matthew in the chat says, beginning of a team doesn't mean making the playoffs. That's the reality. Yeah, I mean, they're 2-5 right now, so I'm not going to sit here and call them a playoff team. They're 7 games in. They played some decent basketball. I think the offensive stuff, whether you look at the passing, the assist numbers, the shooting numbers, 3-point shooting, points in the paint, field goal percentage in the restricted area, those are all great signs that the Kings are in the early stages of getting to know each other as a team in a new system, and they're finding ways to be productive offensively. That's encouraging. And defensively, I don't know where they are after tonight, but they were like 20th in defensive rating. That's kind of what I want to see before the season. Now, can they be more consistent? Can they get more production on a consistent basis from the bench? Part of it is like the rotation, and guys have to know each other. You're asking someone in Rashawn Holmes, who 2 years ago was the starting center on this team, who played some significant minutes. Now he's playing like 13 minutes a night or something. There's going to be an adjustment for him. And maybe it doesn't work. And maybe they have to make some tweaks down the stretch. But Rashawn is playing a new role with different guys off the bench. Davion Mitchell was playing a lot of minutes last year. He's playing 27 minutes a night. You know, those minutes are starting to go up now because of Fox being gone. But there was a stretch. He'd had some games where he's playing 11, 12 minutes. That's an adjustment, right? You're going to get different opportunities. You have to find out how to maximize your minutes. So it's all a process, and you just hope for Kings fans' sake and for the Kings that they can get it figured out and that they can be a competitive team in the West. Let's see here. Matthew also says the Kings have had a bunch of games where they were in it in the last 2 minutes. Yeah, I mean, you got to figure a way to close them out. One person in the chat says, I don't know, I'm slowly believing the NBA/refs are rigging games. Just please be on the Kings side for once. They're not rigging games. I can promise you that. You're going to miss calls as officials. And the officials do a pretty damn good job. It just hurts when there are plays like that. If Tyler Herro hits a 3 in that situation with 6:22 to go in the first quarter, we're not talking about it tonight. But because it was the final shot, because when it's a final shot, a go-ahead shot pretty much, to win it, you're dissecting it. And we're seeing it go, oh, how did you miss that? There are 800 plays that the Kings could have done something better, right? Or there could have been a different call. It's not just because of that last call. So that's why I don't get as worked up. It's frustrating. And it's cool that Mike Brown wanted to say something about it, have his guys back. But I don't know. They're humans. They're going to miss calls. And you hope that more times than not, they're calling it the right way. It's not like we saw a shit ton of free throws tonight. You know, I think the teams combined for 27 free throw attempts. So Donald and Chess's closing games is part of the learning process. They got to figure out quick. Yeah, they do. Yeah, they absolutely do. And if you look at what's coming up with the Kings, you got Orlando coming up on Saturday. I just can't believe they have this much time off. This road trip's been so spread out. You're not having back-to-backs, but you're going to be in a situation where you play Orlando, then you fly back. Monday, you have at Golden State. Wednesday, home for the Cavs. They just got Darius Garland back tonight. I am trying to remember, they end up finishing? Yeah, they end up winning that game tonight. Garland, 29 points for him. He had 12 assists. Donovan Mitchell with 25. Jarrett, that's a good team, man. They're now 6-1. If that's not updated, right? That's a good team. That's a scary team. And that's going to be a tough game at home. Man. Then you go at LA. You get the Warriors again at home. Then you're home for Brooklyn, the TNT game. What a mess the Nets are, by the way. And just a disappointment. I think Jay Williams said something today that they are one of the most disliked teams in NBA history. I think that's accurate. I mean, it's just everything about how that's gone over the last year, from Kyrie to the latest Kyrie stuff to KD with the ultimatum, trade me or fire Nash and Marks. They end up moving on from Nash and agreeing to a deal with a guy who is currently suspended by the Boston Celtics. You got Ben Simmons, who hasn't been able to figure it out. And it's crazy to think about what that team was just a few years ago when they had this young talent. Oh, my God. Sean Marks doing a great job. Kenny Atkinson and Joe Harris. D'Angelo Russell. This is a gritty group. This has been one of the biggest failures in a long, long time. And I'm sorry. Is Udoka going to be the guy that comes in and figures it out? What else is going to come out about Udoka? Right? What if you're like a woman who works for the Nets? How are you feeling about this today? So I think that's the one irritating thing about the league right now. It's just there's just a lot of these stories, and I think the Nets have been an embarrassment to the NBA. And then today, Kyrie Irving comes out with a statement that looks like it was written by the Nets. Doesn't apologize for his remarks or promoting that film, but he's donating $500,000, and the Nets are matching it. No apology necessary, I guess, for Kyrie Irving. It's embarrassing. It's embarrassing. And someone, Joel in the chat said they had Jared Allen too. Yeah, they butchered that team. But they come to town for a nationally televised game on TNT, so it's going to be a lot of fun. So we're going to be back live coming up on Saturday. It's a 2 p.m. tip-off, so I'm guessing we'll be on probably around 5-ish. So join us on Saturday after Kings Magic. We'll talk all about it. We love you guys so much, but we got to go. You guys have an amazing night. See ya.
Deuce and Mo, Deuce and Mo, Deuce and Mo. They tell you what they know. Deuce and Mo, Deuce and Mo, Deuce and Mo. The podcast that you know.